thorough pace, premium racing analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth and Anthony. I'm Anthony Mormino. It must be humid out because the mosquitoes are back, but puddles smaller over there. We had cancellation yesterday, which we've had over the last 20 years more so. But if I remember correctly, according to the newspaper reports the next day, I was here the first day they ever canceled racing in the middle of the card, 1987. It was the fifth race, and in those days, the pick six was races 3 through 8. People left. And we didn't have very many horses. Everybody's like, what happens? And then about 8 hours later on Capital OTB, they posted all for the last 3 legs. But I think 87, I'm telling you, Seth, it was raining so hard that when the horses came out for the fifth, and I was standing up at the rail on the top floor, the water appeared to be at the horse's knees. And they ran the race. You could hardly see it. And then they just canceled racing. And I think I read Matt Graves' column the next day in the TU that was the first time they ever canceled racing. And we've had since then, we had the heat closures. Was it Hurricane Irene that they canceled ahead of time on Sunday? They canceled the Sunday race, I think the day after the Travers, the hurricane. And yesterday, after they ran the Saratoga Oaks, where Elusive Princess got home as the chalk, the Hall of Fame got canceled. The rest of the card, I guess they're bringing the Hall of Fame back on Friday.
Yeah. I forgot about the hurricane. We took our tent down that day. It was predicted to be so bad.
Yeah.
And just tried.
And it just kind of, it was
the cutest way.
Yeah, do you remember what happened? I mean, it was just a normal day. They did precaution. That was the right thing to do. But as it turned out, it was hardly anything. Oh, there you go. Oh, here we are. We're good. We're the best. I'm going to yell, Dino. I'm sorry. I already put one microphone on today, so we won't be repeating that for you. But we canceled racing yesterday. Good early sequence for price horses. And in the TU, the boss man put us in the lead for the first time this season.
All right.
I think it's 6-5-6.
There we go.
We're like
I got to make a little
like
magic.
I said, we're like an NHL team in the 70s.
Got to make a little magic happen here. It made a little magic happen yesterday with the play of the day. Sky NCN got it done. The Dark Horse play of the day. Sky NCN got it done for us. So we're now in the plus column there after 17 days. So there was actually, I had a scratch. So it's actually been 16. But we had the $24 winner, the $12 winner. So far, so good on the Dark Horse.
Are you out for the meet?
No, not yet. No.
Well, you need 80, but then you subtract a few that you had the scratch already. But 1280 took care of the week.
Yeah, no, I'm ahead. I'm ahead for the first 17 days with one scratch. So
all right.
So far, so good.
That is outstanding. So we'll see how it comes up today. I had my Twitter thing here. We're changing turf courses. We're races 1 and 4 are off the turf. So you run at a mile. Races 6, 7, 9, and 12 remain on the turf. The 12th will be moved to the inner. And we've been down that road before where they've moved to a course. And I can never tell if that's for balance of racing or one drains better than the other. I don't know. But that is from the New York Racing Association Twitter account 43 minutes ago. And there you have it. And I'm guessing, they're going to be running at the mile. We talked about the 2-year-olds earlier in the meet, where they used to, in the old days, shorten up to 7/8, but now they can run out of the Wilson, shoot at a mile, and they do. Anything else? Promos? Anything on this, what is morphed into one of the great days annually? And for me personally, this sounds funny to a lot of people, but my 2 favorite races at Saratoga since I've been a boy have been the Test and the Whitney.
The Test is
they moved them. The Test used to be day 2. Whitney used to be the first Saturday, and now they're right on the same day.
Yeah, with Pretty Mischievous and Maple Leaf Mel in there today.
Very interesting. I mean, it's a terrific renewal.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Euro yesterday gets it done and took a lot of action there in the stake that they did run with some bolts of lightning in the background. Yikes. But when you looked at the past performances and saw what the Euro had done on soft ground over there, which is probably much softer, it made sense, and the betting public was right there on that one as well.
And Pippolino, I thought, I felt as if Javier had a very almost warlike goddess trip early where there wasn't space and ground, and I think he felt there was less than no room. That was my trip note for the first 4 furlongs, and I felt when he got the chance to go out, and I've said this before, and Richard Migliori told me why it's a little different from their perspective, but I like jocks, especially in turf races. Yeah, dirt also. Just blow the race open on the turn. And the Mig told me once, he goes, it's just hard when you get caught late and you got to go back to the connections and say, so they like to conserve their energy. Whereas as an old track and field runner, to me, it's like, just push, make them put out effort and take your chances.
I like the bold move.
I do too. Ironically, just a quick note, because he went in the Hall of Fame yesterday. When Corey Nakatani came here in '98, the fall, he rode for Christophe Clement, and he had that tactic, which wasn't around in New York, where he had great success that autumn. I mean, he really took the fight earlier in the race to a lot of jocks, and he basically won the races on the turn. He had a very good autumn, 1998. Rode for Christophe Clement, I think, mostly, but got in the Hall of Fame yesterday. I saw that.
Coming up, Clubhouse Racebook today. It's a $100 Play the Board contest.
Ooh.
Also, Fan Appreciation Day at the Woodlawn branch. Always say a lot of fun. Fan Appreciation Day. If you're a patron out there, stop by and give us our chance to say thank you to you. But there's food, contest, vouchers, past performances, the Woodlawn branch this afternoon. Fan Appreciation Day. Tomorrow at the Clubhouse Racebook. Double promo day, match bet, and exact the board. Oh, and
was yesterday show day?
No, tomorrow's show day. Yesterday the entries opened.
Oh, the entries.
And there were plenty of.
I'm
it
sure.
closed earlier.
Closed.
So the team will get selected. You'll get notified later. But tomorrow is.
And for those keeping score out there, I guessed wrong. Seth purchased this tie. I thought it was clearly
Syracuse.
And then when he told me, I go, all right, I can see Seth stepping out for his alma mater.
I had it for a TV appearance when they were in the playoffs a few years ago. And I thought I'd
very dashing.
Zip it on this morning.
And now, just to let you know, because I think some people from time to time compliment me on my dressing choices, that is an excellent choice. A solid tie with a patterned shirt.
And I almost went with the houndstooth blue coat. And I thought, oh, you gave me the lesson the other day.
Yes. This is. Some people say they think my choice is a little colors and everything. Like this is magenta and lime, but they're like you have a good sensibility, and that's how you do it. One pattern's allowed, even though the last 15
I
years.
should say also on the front side of the track. A lot of times you'll refer to the bag of ties, the sack of ties, the box of ties. And I've had some people come up to me and say, I thought your tie was really nice today. We may have to explain. Bag of ties is good.
No,
it means not, I haven't bought it.
It's really, from Seth's point, it's a grand slam.
The story is, for a number of years, my Sunday morning partner would bring his kind of also ran. I mean, he also is the
he dresses well.
Guy
he does dress very well.
So he probably wears ties twice or something. And so he would bring me a big thing of ties. And they're all nice. And
they're very nice.
When you referred to the bag of ties, he would bring me a bag of ties. But they were all very nice. So you're not downgrading it because came in the bag.
No. Well, what it really refers to is Seth is an extremely conservative, like James Mason, 1954 tie guy. And Steve has, he takes more shots like I do with clothing, and he brings Seth great ties. I mean, they're great ties he gives, but the point is Seth would never purchase those ties, even though they're great. That's the real thing.
The shirt is crazy for me. I probably have
because it's got some oomph in it.
I probably have 10 of just the blue button-down shirt and a couple of whites, and I typically just solid colors or maybe a kind of a stripe on the tie. But
Father knows best.
Step out everyone.
Promos.
Let me tout coming up at 10 o'clock because it should be a good show. Our friend Howard Kravitz will be in. He has the HHH Racing podcast, but he'll be in with his two podcast partners, Pete Visco and Paul Halloran, and we'll talk a little bit about his podcast and the power picks they put out all the time, but we're going to have them go through some races because I tout the podcast all the time. When I'm home handicapping at night, I'll pull it up. They're live at a couple of nights a week, but you can also pull up the replays on YouTube. And they really focus a lot on handicapping, and it's fun to listen to those guys. So we'll have them in this morning. We'll also have Fritz Wiedemann, Senior Vice President of the NTRA Advantage Program. They've been advertising with us this week, so we're going to have Fritz in, hopefully Tom Rooney tomorrow from the NTRA. And then towards the end of the program, Lisa Lazarus, President and CEO of HISA. Give us a little update.
We had a little merry-go-round, get these people on and off, on and off. You got some extra hands around here?
We had her on about a year ago.
Nice.
With a little update now that HISA is about a year into things. So all of that this morning at 10 o'clock.
Do I know what I have on often for background music? And it drives my wife not crazy, but just is basically 25-year-old or 30-year-old VHS tapes of horse races. And when one that really the San Clemente Handicap from Del Mar comes on, I look up and I watch it for 90 seconds and I go back to my work. And she's like, have you seen these enough? I go, well, the answer has to be no, because there's never enough. So I have, and that's why when people ask me sometimes about my memory, I'm like, well, I have a solid one. I said, but some of these things aren't as long ago in my memory as other people. Like it's disposable for them, not me. She asked me actually once if we could throw them out. I looked at her like, who would ever do something like that? And she picked out a few. She goes, can you remember the last time you watched it? I go, no, but that's what's called reference material. I have it, but she would like me to throw it all out, all. And I look at her going, and it's not like it's out. It's in the back of the house in a closed room. Nobody ever sees it. It still bugs her, though. You ready for the 12 today? We got to get to the DePaul play of the day and then us. And remember, folks, even earlier than last week, 12:35 for post time on Saturday. They don't want to keep people here to 7:30 and miss dinner. But it is now time on Whitney/test day for the DePaul play of the day.
When you think trucks, think DePaul. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, get 000 savings on every new Chevy car, truck, and SUV.
So come join the family and think DePaul for all your automotive needs.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, here with the DePaul play of the day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We'll be giving you our plays of the day on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet, and we'll be basing our success on a 50 to win, 30 to place, 20 to show wager. And not only did we show a flat bet profit doing this last year, but we're showing a flat bet profit so far again this year. Now, those that know us best know that we detest taking short-priced animals. Absolutely hate it. However, sometimes when there's a standout, you have to go for it, especially if you need the horse in your rolling action. Our DePaul play of the day today is going to be race number 6, the number 4, Caravel. I'm going to keep it short and sweet here because it's a very obvious animal, but she's 10 for 14 at today's distance of ground, is on a 6 for 7 streak with Tyler aboard, and 3 of these wins have come against the boys. Plus, we like the fact that she doesn't need to send, and she could rate a little bit should the need arise. So this one's a single for those looking to mingle, as I like to say. And once again, our DePaul play of the day is going to be in race number 6, the number 4, Caravel. And we'll see you at the races.
When you think trucks, think DePaul. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, get 000 savings on every new Chevy car, truck, and SUV.
So come join the family and think DePaul for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank the great people at DePaul Chevrolet for the sponsorship of the play of the day. And today, it is so right that the Whitney, to me, in my heart, is the first Saturday of the meet. It should be in August, the first August of August. It just feels so right. And as I said before, Seth, I suspect maybe there's a horse or two in there that is prepping for the Breeders' Cup today, that this is the last stop. I mean, maybe they'll run again, but I don't think so. 12 race card, 12:35. Remember, You know, we are off the turf here. We're going to run at a mile. They're going to shorten up. We're off the turf 1 and 4, and we're going to go on the inner turf for 12. 2-year-olds, open company, a mile on the dirt now.
And my dark horse is in here. The 4-horse, 4, 5, 6, and 3. Dark horse scored yesterday, but I'll get into a little bit more of that 4-horse in a few moments as the dark horse play. So I have Agate Road on top. And again, this was one of those races where I was the same turf or dirt. So it's live on dirt as well. Second spot, I have Allied Attack. There's a sibling called Tom Management that won its debut going long on the turf. So I like that. It's Omaha Beach on top, and I like that as well. So I think this one could be live in debut. Drilling for Gold, Grand Motion Trainee by Twirling Candy. Good first out sire. Sibling Whimsical Dance won its debut going long on turf. Another sibling Ride for the Cause won in the second career start. So I thought there was win early with the 6. Innate, I have down in the 4 spot, Joe O'Brien. I saw Joe O'Brien at Ciro's yesterday, enjoying a little social
As he
activity
should,
out in
young
the
man.
backyard. Yeah, absolutely. But this one looked pretty good in the Euro debut. Maybe the one to beat, but I went 4, 5, 6, and 3. And I'd pull the main track
absolutely.
underneath. We don't know, but it's Chad Brown and Clark.
I think other people are going to be pulling him in on top.
On top, yeah. I just thought in here I could keep.
Now I
this up
see
and
you with
trust people staying
your
in.
camera all the time. Did you get a picture of Joe over Ciro's? A little
I
selfie?
don't typically bring it into. Well, no, it's my phone. I did have the phone. I don't pull it out. I guess.
All right. Interesting race because I think the one MTO trade influence is for many reasons, along with being 8-5 is going to be a major player here. Wally World to me for Chad Brown is a major player here. Had a good workout on a wet fast racetrack, so I'm staying 7.52. Now my question would be going a mile. Does he get to come in without any scratches? Right? They can run 9 horses on a mile.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So
probably, yeah.
I don't think there has to be any scratches.
I would guess somebody would have wanted the turf, though. Seems like somebody will come out. I mean, I can't predict who, but
Right. But 7.52 for me in an intriguing first race on Whitney Day.
Second race this afternoon, we're looking at maiden specials. They're vying for $136,000 now. For non-New York breds, that goes down to $105,000. Still pretty good for maiden specials, going 6 furlongs.
And boy, it's going to be nice to. It's not my mix. It's 5-4-7 for me. You'll see in a moment. But pentathlon, the 3. It's always nice to see the black cherry cap. It's few and far between now. I know they had a turf runner down in Florida, but we don't see too many. 5-4-7 for me. Seth also has domestic product on top. Chad Brown, an offspring of Practical Joke. For second, number 4, locked Todd Pletcher and a gun runner. 8-1 on the morning line. Now, here's a case where if they're dead on the board, these are the horses the rare horse that I don't want dead on the board. And for third, number 7, Ozone. So 5-4-7. Very intriguing second race today.
I also have the Chad Brown Klarovich runner on top. I mean, this has for me the nature and nurture, with nature being some win early breeding, nurture being a team trainer and owner that like to win early, particularly up here at Saratoga. Practical Joke on top, win early sire. Dan produced a sibling called Convertible Freeze. Took 4 starts to win, but then 1 starts 4 and 5 in quick order. So I thought there was a little win early. That's the lone sibling to look at so far. BU, the number 1 horse, sibling called American West, won its career debut. Another sibling called Condone, 6th and 3rd, then 1 in the 3rd start. I consider that win early. It's Todd Pletcher who can get it done. And Creek going out for Belmont, who he's been doing okay with the firsters. Wow. There's a sibling called Lagoon that won in the 2nd career start. So 15-1, that one's intriguing. Locked, another Todd Pletcher runner by Gun Runner. Had a lone racing sibling called Mega Moon that took 5 starts to win, but had a 2nd and a 3rd in there as well. In the 2nd at Saratoga for me, 5-1, 9, and 4.
And a quick note on yesterday's opener, we had talked about it. And I didn't see this coming, but enough people did, that Ludwig, that must be a Beethoven thing, right? That horse was bet strongly against the entry and the Steve Asmussen horse. It actually, I think it was 4-1 on the morning line.
4-1 on the morning.
Into the teeth of the entry, which stayed. Both halves stayed. And the Steve Asmussen second time starter, right? And they bet this horse. He actually split those two horses down to 3-2 and was impressive in win. But somebody knew, because it was hard, I thought, to get past the entry and the other runner. And people knew that Ludwig could run, and he did.
Phil Bauer, Whitney Racing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking because is it a Beethoven reference? Mastery out of Texas Gem.
How many times in your life besides drums have you heard Ludwig?
Well, never really, but I was expecting to look and see Mendelssohn or some kind of musical reference.
All right. So they knew. I mean that horse in the context of that race, paying $550, they knew. On to the third, Claimers in for 20, racing 7/8.
6, 8, 7, and 5 for me. Glory Road on top. Rudy Runner 3-1. I think it's a good price for a horse that on the numbers and pretty consistent numbers stacks up really well with this bunch, and off the most recent number probably has an edge. Now that was back in at the end of May. Claim does drop off the claim. Mentioned it many times already here in the morning over the past couple of weeks. You don't like to see a drop off the claim, particularly with a little bit of a delay coming back like this. But going from 25 to 20 is not anything to really be concerned about. So I'm not knocking on the drop. And again, I think consistently this horse fits nicely here. Victorious Wave in the second spot. Chris Engelhardt trainee. Comes in off a series of very nice races so far this season. 4 exacta finishes, 5 in the money so far this year, and had a nice win up at Finger Lakes last time, but down at Aqueduct in the start before. Put in a number that matches up with these, so has that Naira talent. And then Don't Be Late in the third spot. Last 2 races, 2 nice wins. Belmont in May, Saratoga right here on the 19th of July. Those signal this horse could be a serious player in with this bunch. Third race, 6, 8, 7, or 5.
Now, they used to call it being in jail. Is it 30 days?
That's a good question.
So
the rules
what I'm
these
referring
days
to
are
is
not.
If you claim a horse for 25 and come back for 20, you have to wait. I think it's 30 days, not 45. They call it being in jail. So there's always going to be a line if that works out. I'm 5, 6, 7 here. No more talk. The barn is clearly cold for the year. And that's tough sledding at 9-2. You know, at 20-1, I'd have no problem. But at 9-2, that's tough sledding. I just thought with some moisture in the racetrack and the top and the bottom and the good early speed that I'm not attracted to the price. Like I said, pushing this stone up the hill. But Brad Ortiz, continues to ride for this, takes the mount, coming out of the David Jacobson claim. So good luck. Some people might say that David Jacobson work is still there, so maybe that's a chance. But 5, 6, 7 for me.
All right, taking a break?
Well, I think we're going to give the people the dark horse play of the day.
Oh, right. Thank you for reminding. That's 2 days in a row you guys are reminding me.
And I think the third day back, you weren't like razor sharp waiting. But 2 days you've been like, let's go to break. And
that was on me. Dark horse play today, as noted earlier, is back in race number 1. It's Agate Road. And again, I was on this turf or dirt. And so with the surface switch, I still like this first-time starter. We'll see if it stays in. And I like that even better because then we can put the trust in the connections to be having a good thought. But the last workout on the dirt, I think, was okay. But you have Quality Road on top. They paid over $650,000 for this horse. There was a full sibling called Plentitude that won the first 2 of the career. One was on turf. One was on dirt. Now, they were both sprints. But again, the sibling won the first 2 on both surfaces. So again, I'm happy to stick here. I was a little bit surprised by the 12-1 morning line with these connections and a little bit of fun early breeding. We'll see how things hold up odds-wise as the surface switch will affect things, and there may be some scratches. But the 12-1 to me seemed generous already, so we'll see what we get down to. But I'm going to stick with this one, even with the surface switch. As I say, I had not made any changes in that first race regardless. And that includes, again, the 9 trade imbalance it's Chad and Klarovich with the first-time starter that they're getting the surface they want. So we'll see what that one goes off at and does. But I'm going to go with Agate Road. Brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile in downtown Saratoga. Again, we tell you stopping down. If you're up here on a Saturday and going out for dinner, they're open late on Broadway. Stop by, say hello to them, tell them you saw them here on the network, and go down the street to their sister store, Impressions of Saratoga. But today's Dark Horse play of the day, race number 1, horse number 4, Agate Road.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back, more on Whitney Test Day.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're up to the 4th race, and unfortunately, it is off the turf at a mile. And I think this is truly unfortunate because just in the races, remember, there's 12 running lines in the form. All turf for the 1, the 2, the 3, the 8, the 9, and the 10. And the 4 has 10 of the 12 turf. What I'm alluding to in my heart is and brain is that, boy, I have 8 that I think are very suspicious if they'll stay. I mean, they show almost exclusively between the 8 horses. They have 96 races listed in the daily racing form, or actually not. That's a couple that haven't maxed out yet. So my thought is that this race is going to get decimated by scratches. And the MTO, the 11, is 8-5 on the morning line. And unlike the first race where I think it could still be contentious, I think Z-Bear is in a good shot here because I would anticipate that, and I'm just guessing here, anything more than a 5-horse field, I'd be surprised. I mean, I think I think the 5 is staying, got the race they wanted. The 7 got the race they wanted, and the 11 got the race they wanted. It's hard for me to imagine the others are staying unless there's a little nudge to stay or they know something I don't. But to me, the 3 dirt horses here are the 11, obviously, 5 and the 7. I'd be surprised if 2 of the other 8. I'd make the over under 2.5 of the other 8 that run. I'd maybe see it differently. This race gets hurt.
I'm looking. I'm not. I mean, some of these have really turf on their resume, so it's hard to know what they're going to do. But I think I went 11, 7, 5, and 2. Z-Bar, they get what they want. It's Linda Rice and makes. So
you have the 3 that I think are running in the dirt race. The 2 horses that were in the main body that are dirt horses. I agree.
Shared Success and Gimme the Money both come in for Finger Lakes with dirt form. And Sonic Speed, if you look over, they tried wet tracks 3 times unsuccessfully, but has some workouts underneath that are okay. And again, you're buying for $95,000, and if things do scratch down or they anticipate that, they may stick in as well. So for me, 11, 7, 5, and 2.
I think the 5, the 7, the 11, I just tried to do some quick math here. It's 42. There's 48 races, and there's 1 turf race. So they're the dirt horses, and the other ones are almost completely the opposite. So good luck in the 4th. Well, I think there'll be very significant changes in the field size there, unfortunately.
Fifth race.
Yes,
you're teeing up.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
State Bred's going 7/8 entry level allowance here. Field of 10.
I have a 4-2, 10 and 3. Golden Arm on top. I had it when I was a high school quarterback. I had a T-shirt with that on it. Not that I was bragging, but so it's like it's a little bit of a hunch bet, but I don't really hunch bet here on the show.
I like this. A running team and known for defense.
Not when I was there.
Oh no, of course not. They had to change the offense when Seth came up. They're like, we got to get a West Coast offense for this guy. We can't waste those talents. Not when I was there.
Comes in off a turf effort, turf experiment, obviously in the third start of the career. And they took their shot, had their experiment, getting back to the dirt. I think off the 2 dirt races, and maybe anticipating getting back to the dirt in the third dirt start, maybe another little move forward. I think Golden Arm's a player in here at 6-1. Second spot, Asymmetric. Hasn't been seen since March 23rd. That's kind of the knock, but it's Chad Brown and Klarovich. So you don't really think that the horse is going to come back short, certainly. And this one has shown some talent already and makes some sense. And then Straight Arrow in the third spot. It's my man, Mike Deeney, coming up from Monmouth at a big price. And I thought off the maiden breaker last time and having only the 2 starts, there was maybe some upside. I thought this horse was a very interesting player at a price. So for me, 4-2, 10 and 3.
And I'll tell you one thing, he's lost in the conversation, but numerous on the bottom side, I think gets helped by the moisture dramatically. I'm 6-4-3 here. I cannot believe you left the McLean's music out. I'm starting to get nervous now that this horse can't run, but I like Thank You, John, the Austrian McLean's music, obviously. Well, he's been talked about a lot. I mean, he had a triple Beyer speed figure in his one career start right out of Santa Anita for Steve Asmussen. He's been a decent stallion coming off sprinting. Irad takes the mount. First time versus winners. Third start of the year. I'll take Thank You, John. Golden Arm. So you in your days, you played in the old Class A.
Yeah.
Just before the Big Ten. So
Clinton and Albany and Mount Pleasant.
Troy, right?
Troy.
Yep. 2 for charging. Jorge Abreu scares me very much here. I'm throwing out the commentator race, gets into entry-level allowance. But I like Thank You, John, and I'm happy at the 9-2, 6-4-3.
And Al Gold horse, and he always has clever names. I'd like to know what is behind. If I see him, I'll ask. Thank you, John.
Thank You, John?
Yeah, but
okay.
Has to be some kind of story. It's an Al Gold horse. There has to be some.
So there's a story, and obviously it's a person whose given first name is probably Jonathan, right?
6 races this afternoon, stakes action in the Troy Grade 3 event, $300,000. And again, this one scheduled to stay on the grass.
I think the first 2 editions they ran at a mile, but this became maybe the first turf sprint stakes at Saratoga. When they started, they were 1 mile races. Right. Then they became, this turf sprint, and it's a doozy. I mean, if your thoughts on Carvel are, it's, her day again as a 6-year-old mare with Given the Surface. Boy, she was tough in the Jaipur at almost 3-1 the favorite. I'm 5-4-1. I am taking a little shot against her. Grooms All Business comes in off Monmouth Park and won a stake at 5. I like the tactical position with good speed. I'm not this 20 and 4. We clearly very rarely ever see 20 and change for an opening quarter mile, but Churchill Downs has him on that long run up for 6 furlongs once in a while, this turf sprint. But what I truly like about Grooms All Business is that second quarter mile, the ability to go fast and maintain position. And I'm hoping we upset Caravel, who I have in second. And then from the hedge with the rail at 18 feet, or from the temporary rail, Thin White Duke. But taking a shot against Caravel today with Grooms All Business and Dylan Davis.
Caravel's just such a fun story. I mean, she's turned into a monster. 6-year-old mare. And, look at the last 5 straight wins, but 3 of those were against the boys, including the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. The last one won the Jaipur against the boys, who ran third, Casa Creed, who ran so well here a couple of weeks ago. So I think flattered Caravel. So I'll put her on top. For me, second, Cogburn, since going over to the turf for Steve Asmussen. A couple of nice wins, so seems to have found a little home on the grass. And then No Balls in the third spot. comes in off a couple of wins down to Churchill and Indiana Grand. The Churchill win 2 back in a grade 2 turf sprint stakes. A triple-digit buyer number, and so should be a player in with this bunch. Remuda at a price on the outside for Owen Hardy, getting back to the turf for only the second time. Last time was a nice winner down at Laurel and comes in with a bullet work at Turfway. That one to me is a little bit intriguing, but I have it in the 6th, 4, 3, 7, and 8.
Take a quick break. When we come back, the pick 6 commences in race 7.
Yeah.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
It's in front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Falbrough. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 7 kicking off the pick 6 at a mile and 16th. The Lure.
5, 1, 3, and 2 for me. I'll go with Speaking Scout on top. Grand Motion Trainee comes in off a couple of decent tries. Close up fourth, very close up fourth, and a close up third in a couple of stakes down at Pimlico and Monmouth. I thought the horse was a little bit interesting in here off of those 2 efforts, the numbers thrown there. So I'll tilt slightly in that direction. Portfolio Company for Chad and Klarovich comes off a couple of nice efforts as well with numbers that match up nicely with my top pick. And those for Portfolio Company, there were wins. Now, Speaking Scout steps out of stakes, Portfolio Company out of optional claimers. But again, with the potent team and the 2 wins, Portfolio Company is certainly one that has to be in your mix. And Dakota Gold for Dean Reeves, Danny Gargan trainee, has raced up here at Saratoga a couple of times and has raced very well. I would expect this one to put in a good performance off the nice stakes win against State Breds, albeit last time down at Belmont, but comes in obviously in good form. Might wind up being the one to beat. But for me, in what I think is kind of a competitive field, 5, 1, 3, and 2.
Well, Dakota Gold is the morning line favorite
in
here and has had some success with Give in the turf course, as has Portfolio Company. And that was the edge for me, flipping our exacta here. I'm inside. We'll have to negotiate a trip in there, but we have had success with good in the ground, including most recently listed as yielding. Now, yesterday for the Saratoga Oaks, it was listed as soft, which is the least firm turf course. So I like Portfolio. The top 3 that we both have, to me, it's very close. We'll see what the betting is. Dakota Gold, who has good results with Give in the ground, and then Speaking Scout. I thought these 3 kind of had the race surrounded. I'm 1-5-3 in this year's edition of the Lure.
8th race this afternoon. Yes, it is the test. Grade 1 event, $500,000 up for grabs. 7 furlongs the trip for the 3-year-old fillies. And you're right, annually, this is one of the favorite. I mean, you go back over the years and look at some of these races. They've been some of the highlights of the Saratoga meet. And this edition may wind up being right in that same company.
It was a while there before they had the filly and mare sprint in the Breeders' Cup. You can look at the fillies who ran against Colts eventually in the Breeders' Cup coming out of this race. And, the first one being Very Subtle, who handed Groovy his head at $30 and change when they moved the sprint to the opener at 87. I'm 6-1-8 in here. So Seth doesn't even like
I got it in the 4th spot. And
okay.
If the speed falls apart, Darth Vader could be very, very. I had Mike Welch in the other day, and he thought Darth Vader would be a real player.
I think she is is a major player here at 6-1. I don't think, you talk about the buyer speed figures. I'm sensing we're in the mix, and I did think the race was going to shape up where that's also going to help me. So I think I'm fast enough. I think the price is right, and I think the race is going to set up where I'm a major player, and I'm the $14 major player, because I don't think Darth Vader is going to be, the one attracting attention for George Weaver, and that's the horse I like. I mean, you got to get through Pretty Mischievous, who I guess maybe trying to lock up a 3-year-old championship today, right? She wins the test. You win the Acorn, you win the Kentucky Oaks. That's it, right?
You would think.
It's not
wet paint's chasing has a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the Alabama, right? That'd be something. And then I have Maple Leaf Mel, who is on the outside in attacking position, good speed, great story. 6-1-8 for me. And there was probably a time when people would say that I have Money's Gold not on the list is tomfoolery, right? After that, I almost call it the Baby Yoda angle, but she has multiple 100 buyer speed figures. So, who is a player in here? Money's
Absolutely.
Gold. So, great addition. Great addition. We'll take our final break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Seth was so spellbound by the field for the test stakes. He felt that the numbers and the chicklets spoke for themselves, and there wasn't anything possibly he could add to his selection.
I have Maple Leaf Mel on top, but the horse to beat's going to be pretty mischievous, obviously. Money's Gold. And the speed may melt down. And if it does, it'll be Darth Vader to pick up the pieces. But Maple Leaf Mel has answered every question so far. This is no pun intended, a sterner test. But I think with the outside post position, she is in an interesting spot. And it's going to be a fun race, certainly, with the field in here. But I have it 8-1, 7, and 6.
Tom Jerkin understood the pun because 91 was his first. He got the job at Merrow the day after Saratoga closed 90. So he came up here and he goes, Aurora has failed her test because she was the favorite in his first test. On to the 9th race, the boys' turn. And for me, I kind of was suspecting that Aspen Grove, the filly, was going to scratch out when she takes on the boys. And I think kudos. Something we see far more
absolutely
in Europe. The nature of racing there has fillies taking on boys with regularity. Not so much in the United States, but Aspen Grove was entered into both. She scratched out of the Oaks. She runs in the Derby today. Both were at a bottom at a mile 3/16 at the top. Purse is a little different though.
Yeah, I have it 5, 6, 4, and 2. Thought the 9 was interesting as well from Augustin. at a price, I'll probably play with that one a little bit with Irad Ortiz on board. So again, the 9 just missed my mix, but I'm not going to argue anybody off of that one. But I just went second leg of this turf series in New York, and Farbridge won the first one. I don't see any reason why not right back this afternoon, so I'm going to go there. All of that said, Webslinger had a nice closing effort. It was way back early. We'll see if this one can be a little more engaged early in the running here. And if so, I think the Mark Casse trainee Webslinger could be very, very dangerous. And in the third spot, the franchise, it's Joe O'Brien coming over with the European off a win at the Curra last time. Could be a little bit intriguing at a 30-1 morning line. We'll see how that plays out. But I have it 5-6, 4-2.
On 3-5-6. Aspen Grove for me, right in here. I'm glad they chose this spot. I think she's going to be she was a big price, 15-1 at Belmont. She's might be in that neighborhood this afternoon. We're going to have good give in the going, some good, some bad, but I have Aspen Grove on top. Farbridge for second. A horse much talked about during the turf season for 3-year-olds, the division you like down in Florida. And then Webslinger, very nice, middle distance, I guess we'll call it 3-year-old, but 3-5-6, the filly taking on the boys.
Race number 10 this afternoon, the highlight, Grade 1, Whitney, $1 million, 9 furlongs, the trip.
I'll be interested to see where you go. We're sort of at 165 for me. I will just say I was predisposed that I would not like Cody's Wish odds on 9 furlongs. That was it. The race goes through Cody's Wish for multiple reasons. I mean, feel-good story of the decade in horse racing. And Zandon, though, to me, I think Cody's Wish has to put in almost a career-best performance at not his career-best distance to beat my top pick, who's 9-2. I'll take my chances day in and day out with that. I'm on the inside. Chad Brown, Joel Rosario, third start of the year, which I like. Improved by our speed figures off of the Westchester into the Met Mile. Today, I guess, would be the day. I mean, he just runs a big race at a good price. Cody's Wish, who was 1-2 on the board, really chasing a horse of the year honors. Big spot in here. Glad to see him take it on. Third start of the year. And then White Abarrio, Grade 1 winner, 165.
I'm going to go with Cody's Wish on top. I don't think the distance is going to be a big obstacle, but I think it is competitive. I have Charge It in second and Zandon in third. I think they're both absolutely players in here. I put Charge It in the second spot. This is a horse that early in the career showed some promise. That Dwyer victory obviously jumps off the page. And then kind of didn't quite live up to that, but I think last time got on the back on the track with the win in the Suburban. And I think off of that, I'll put Charge It in the second spot. But Zandon, the Met Mile second with the 106 buyer is very, I think, dangerous in here as well. So intriguing race. Last Samurai was so good at Oaklawn this winter. I could see Last Samurai being interesting. White Abarrio, West Point. When I had Tommy Bellhouse out in a few days ago, they were thinking of going to Charlestown. So that Dale says, hey, let's go here off the 99 buyer win. Interesting as well. But for me, in the Whitney, 6-2, 1-5.
Interesting race. Strategically, the results where it pushes horses onto the 11th. Open company, entry-level allowance going 7/8.
5, 7, 10, and 2 frat pack on top. Chad Brown trainee had a debut up here and ran third and then laid off until 4th of July down at Belmont. The comeback showed that this horse came back as an improved 4-year-old. I could see stepping right through the next condition off of what we've seen so far. Ever So Mischievous in the second spot. 3 starts so far for Brad Cox. They've been 3 pretty good starts. Got his experience at this level last time, and with that one under the belt and a near miss down at Ellis, I think is really dangerous today. Comes in with a nice bullet work as well. And on the outside, Caramel Chip off a close-up third place near miss on the move up here to Saratoga. Fit, good form right now. 5 wins and 3 seconds and 10 career starts. Has to be in the conversation. The 11th at Saratoga, 5, 7, 10, and 2.
I thought this race was about 3 or 4 deep on top, in my opinion. I went 2-7-4, and the two going out for the seasonal debut for Shug McGahee, one with moisture in the racetrack going the one-turn mile at the Belmont at Aqueduct meet. Gets Lasix today as a 3-year-old. Number 7, ever so mischievous. They add blinkers in the third start since February. Radcock's horse has been very, very consistent. The race does go through the 7, and for third, number 4, Bad to the Bones at a big price for Bill Mott, 274. Are you having theater in the round when I leave the stage later?
We got the crew and some fans.
There's a basketball team.
12th and final today. It'll go off at about 6:48 this evening. We are looking at allowance non-winners at 1 runners. They will go on the turf at 1:16, but has been moved to the inner.
2-1-10 for me, and I was surprised that Dancing with the Stars just 10-1 on the line. I'm good with that. Making the third start of the year for Dominic Schettino. We're down inside. We're going to save ground. We don't have the early tactical position, so my guess is we're just going to go along the first half of the race and then take our chances with an inside trip for second. Number 1, Shutters. Mark Henning, who's having an outstanding meet, and we are so happy for it. Making the third start of the year, second since April. I like the race at Belmont on June 17th. And for third, Al's Rocket toward the outside with IRAD 2-1-10. At 6:48.
I really like Al's Rocket. I'm not thrilled with the post position, though.
And now you have it on the inner to negotiate it.
But I went 10-4-3-1. I just like the scenario here. Third start back. The first 2 were pretty good. Irad jumps on board today. Todd Fletcher trainee. Again, 4-1 on the morning line. I like the horse, but the post position is going to be the obstacle. My C-Cut, it's just one of those that I liked it enough that I would just absolutely kick myself if I went in another direction and won from that post position. So I'll stick there. My Sea Cottage in the second spot. Nice win right up here at Saratoga, right at the beginning of the meet for Marquez. He has some early speed, and I would think Catch Me If You Can is the scenario. And then Roos in the third spot, and also with some early speed. Comes in off a couple of starts down at Belmont. Third start back, might move forward in the 10th. In the 12th. 12th and final. I have a 10-4-3-1.
We have a couple moments here before we get to racing across America. Any of your favorite Whitneys? Thoughts?
Oh, Fiorito.
81.
Yeah.
First time it was a grade 1.
Aladar, because that was a fun whole season with Aladar and the Whitney, and then
big
the
explosion
matchup
on the inside.
The matchup in the Travers with Affirmed, and those would probably pop out to me.
I agree with those. Remember, Nearly on Time, I think was the first one that I was here. Steve Cawthon, who didn't win a lot of races up here. He beat Forgo. Forgo didn't pick up his feet in the rain and the moisture. But I think Nearly on Time might have carried the least amount of weight of any winner. I mean, it was anemic. Like I think less than 110.
Yeah, back in the day when that was
handicaps had big spreads, etc. I remember Island World against Deputy Minister the year after Fiorito was a big showdown. I had Deputy Minister. I didn't like going the 2 turns in Island World. As I said, one of the few doubles I cashed in my life. Robbie Davis won his first race at Saratoga in the 9th with Downstage. Got me the late double and, made the whole summer, to be quite honest with you. The most historically big one, though, was Slew of Gold just laughing at Track Baron. If you ever get a chance to show the video, it was if I was a chart caller, my comment would have been with disdain. I mean, it was, and then Track Baron comes back the next year to win it. Now it's less remembered, but Awesome again sort of did the same thing to Tail of the Cat, where he's like, this is not really a race, no matter what the optics look like. And then he let him, Pat Day let Awesome again go a little. But Cordero was holding Slew of Gold, not for the optics, but he didn't want to get big weight in the Marlboro Cup, so it was like, and then she didn't win, but Jerry Bailey, I call it the Jerry Bailey move. She was on the outside. She took the 45-degree angle. She got he got her over to the wood, and she just got beat with Mahogany Hall coming out of the clouds. Any of your favorite tests?
The The one that Tom Durkin, the Bingo Bango.
Oh, you and Carson
yeah.
Hollow?
Yeah.
I still can't believe John Velasquez gave him the rail. Just shut him down. Mine was very subtle. Big field. I think she was the 4-1 chalk. And she just, even Marshall Cassidy almost fell out of the booth when she went, in those days it was unheard of, when she went 44 to the half and Patrick Valenzuela has a chokehold on her. The other one I remember is the Whistler, never won a graded stakes, and Woody's Arm Sweets comes from last to first. That might have been the ballerina. That was the ballerina. I used to get those mixed up. The other test when it was day 2 when Mom's Command got beat by Lady Secret, who at that time wasn't Lady Secret yet. But a great day, great history. Those two of the absolute best races. And the test, I remember the first grade 1 test, Ferris team. 1988, Jerry Bailey. But I see we have a basketball team waiting to come out of the tunnel to the cheers. So who do you have for the good folks on Racing Across America?
It is the crew from the HHH Racing Podcast, Howard Kravitz, Paul Haller, and Pete Visco. We'll have them up first. We'll talk a little bit about the podcast, do some handicapping as well. Fritz Whitteman from the NTRA Advantage program a little bit later on, and excited to talk to Lisa Lazarus, the CEO and president of HISA. Now that we're kind of a year in, had her on last year as things were just getting underway. We'll kind of follow up and get an update a little bit later on. All of that coming up top of the hour.
When I think of HISA, it's not a political, but Chris McCarron came here and won, I think, 2 Travers. The 49er and 10 Most Wanted. Combined, at least 30 strikes. No. I mean, he was into both of those horses getting to the line. But I tell you, folks, it's getting beautiful out right now. The sun is out. It's going to be a terrific day. Remember, we're off the turf 1 and 4. We're going to switch to surface on the 12th, which I think is important because I think it hurts a major player in the race, or it affects a major player. You decide if it hurts or not. But terrific day of racing. Remember the early post time, 12:35. He stays, I go. Have a great Whitney test day.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Thorough Pace, Premium Racing Analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.